Hi friends, today we are going to talk about the buttonhole or blanket stitch and how we can use that around a shape with kind of the long legs here on it. I think that using it that way on a leaf, you can use it on any shape leaf, but I think that using it that way on a leaf, especially a leaf that's more heart-shaped, can really make it pop and be fun. So let's get to it. First, I want to talk about just the regular blanket or buttonhole stitch. And so this is not a wrap stitch, so you can go ahead and use a chenille needle. I happen to have a different needle threaded right now, so it's not a chenille, but that's what I'd use if I didn't already have this one threaded. So I want to come out on my line, which would be near the edge of my shape if I had one. And then the difference between a buttonhole and a blanket stitch is really how close the stitches are together. So usually for a blanket stitch, it's one of the first stitches that wool embroiderers usually learn. You want to go the same distance along the line as you go out away from the line, and you stitch back towards yourself like this, and make sure your thread here is underneath so it catches. So a blanket stitch, these might be each a quarter of an inch long, quarter of an inch, or you can do them smaller. They can be 1/8 of an inch. If it were going to be a buttonhole stitch, think of this as if you were, hand sewing a buttonhole and you needed to protect the edge of the fabric there so that there wasn't fraying. You would want it to be a lot closer so that it looked more like a buttonhole. So you would do the stitches really close together. Oh, pull it tight because it's got to be tight before I move on. And all of these would be the same length and right next to each other. And so officially, this one is a blanket stitch, and this part is the buttonhole stitch, but we often just refer to it as a buttonhole stitch, even though we spread them apart. Okay, let's go on to being able to use it around a shape. Now, I have drawn on here this leaf shape. Right here, it's not, let me make sure it's showing up enough you can see how it's kind of heart-shaped right here. Now, I don't want the center of my point to be right here in the middle of the heart. I want the center of my leaf to be about 1/4 of an inch away from that, about right there. Okay. So that, the edge is where I want my line to end up, the line that's right here. I want to end up along the edge, so that's where you start, along the edge, and I'm going to start right here in the V. And then, like a buttonhole, you'll go in where you want all of those points to center, and you'll come out whatever distance away you want, whatever distance you want that to be. So mine are going to be a shy 1/4 of an inch away. Okay, and the same thing, but this time on this shape, we're always going in that spot in the center. And then the distance away each time is along where I drew, that heart. So always go in at the center. Now be careful, you're pulling quite a bit here and you could make this pucker. So you kind of have to be careful as you go, not to pull it too tight. Watch your tension. Always in the center. Come out, shy 1/4 of an inch. Always go in the center, that same spot. Come out a shy 1/4 of an inch away. Always in the center. Come out a shy 1/4 of an inch away. Same thing all the way around. The one thing that you'll want to watch for is if the shape that you're doing this for has a point in it, you are going to want to make sure that you hit that point on the end. So as I'm looking at this and I know my point's right here, I can look at that and go, okay, I think that's 3 stitches. So and 3 is going to be to the point. And sometimes, just to make sure that that point stays in the right place, I just go right ahead and tack that point down and then come up right next to where I was to begin with. just to make sure that that point stays in place. Same thing. So this last one, I'm going to go in the center, and I'm going to come out right next to where I started, and that'll make sure that I've got a line to that spot. Okay, and that's how you can use the buttonhole or blanket stitch to around a shape. We'll see you next time.